Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie Colours, and we are back with part 9 of our full book colour along in the gorgeous book Awake by R.J.Hampson. And today we have this cute little bear drinking his morning coffee. This one is called First Coffee. It's a pretty straightforward image. Excuse my printout, there are a few little marks around, but I'm not worried too much about those. So yeah, pretty straightforward little page today. Let's see how we get on. So I've pulled out some markers to use. I'm going to start with my browns for my bear. So I've kind of decided to go for a reddish brown color combination. So I have a YR95, YR91, YR9, YR10 and Y145. So I'm just going to make sure I've got them, because sometimes the caps don't quite reflect how the color comes out. So I have my swatch chart here, and I'm just going to keep this off to the side of me so I can figure out which color's the darkest and which is the lightest. So I'm going to start with the 3 darkest markers, which are YR95, YR91 and YR10. And I'm going to start by kind of working probably on his head first. Got the wrong end. So these are all of these browns come from the skin tone set of markers. So these are the ones that have a brush tip on one end and a fine nib on the other end. So I always get the wrong end because the one that is marked is the fine tip and the other unmarked end is the brush tip, which is different to the other markers which have the brush tip and the broad tip. That's a lot of tips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around kind of the outside of his face with my darkest marker. I'm going to try and not colour over his teeth there, and then I'm going to add in some of the lighter marker. So I'm just going to maybe add a little bit more of this darker marker just to pull it out a little bit. I really want to emphasize his cute little face. And I don't know, I don't drink coffee, so you guys are going to have to tell me, is it normal to put honey in coffee? I know honey is a sweetener, so you could use it like that, but I don't know, I've never heard of anybody putting honey in coffee. Is that weird? I don't know. You'll have to let me know because I don't drink it. Not because of any health reason or anything like that. I'm just going to move my camera back slightly because that's knocking against the table. Hopefully that will be all right. Yeah, not because of any health reason or anything like that. I just don't like coffee. Just never have. And I know that makes me a bit odd. I know there are people that really cannot get through a day without their coffee. I'm just not one of those people. I've never liked it. My husband loves it. My husband lives on it. He is one of those people that needs a coffee to get him going in the morning. Yeah, I don't know why. Just never drunk it and have never liked it. So there you go. Okay, so I'm just going in with my kind of mid-tone marker and pulling out that color a little bit higher, leaving plenty of space for my lightest. I'm just going to go back over these kind of areas a few times, get my paper nice and wet with this marker. And these are very dark colors, you'll see, but when I add this one in, it's quite a bit lighter, so we get a bit of light in there. And it might be that I want to go add more shadow in as we go along, but I always think it's better to err on the side of caution and not go too heavy-handed to begin with, because it's very easy to add color, it's very difficult to take it away. So I always just like to be a little bit cautious. So I'm just going to add that's around his ears, and I'm really trying to work over those blend lines because there is quite a big contrast between these colors. So I really want to try and blend them in a little bit. Oh, I got some on the spoon there, that's okay. So really trying to work that color through so that it blends out nicely. And when I'm finished the page, I might go back in with one of my darker markers and do a little bit of kind of like fur type thing. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to start on his body here, and I'm just going to do one side of his body to begin with. I'm kind of adding a shadow where that cup is, maybe just a little bit around the top there as well, and then I'll blend out. want to make this look a little bit more seamless. So I'm just kind of following the lines that the artist has drawn in there, and just kind of, yeah, not doing anything major with this one. I think for this one my light source is just going to be straight down on top of his head, nice and easy. Not too much thought involved. Which is, if you've been following along with this color along, is really what this kind of color along is all about. It's all about doing something quick and easy, having the result of the page that's all finished, but not spending loads of time with it, and just having a bit of fun and using alcohol markers, doing a lot of blending, thinking about what colors we use and that sort of thing, but you know, like nothing taxing. This is all about having fun, making it quick and easy, and hopefully by the end, well, it'll be, what did I work out it was going to be, like mid-July, we're going to have a nice completed book all filled with color, which will be a lot of fun. So I'm not adding backgrounds, I'm not doing anything fancy. Of course, feel free to do those things if that's what you want to do, but for me it's all about just being quick, easy, super fun, and yeah, nothing stressful or strenuous. Just a really simple kind of bit of coloring to get some color on a page, have a bit of me time, not think too hard about anything, and just enjoy the process. Okay, let's go do his arm next. So his arm is kind of fun, it's got all this. So I'm just going to emphasize those kind of fur flicks there, and I'm going to add a little bit of shadow into these little bits here and around the edge of his arm, kind of thinking about where the light would be hitting most. Okay, and I've said this in every video, but I always like to start with my darkest marker. Some colorists prefer to use the lightest marker first, and some will kind of add a base of the lightest marker all over the page and then kind of go in and create shadows with the darker marker. This is the way that I prefer to work. I like adding my darkest marker first and blending out. It helps me kind of visualize where I need to put my shadows, and where the shadows and light are going to be. And yeah, I don't know, this is just the way I do it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Other people will do it differently, but this is how I do it. So again, feel free to do what works for you and what you prefer, but for me, this is the way I like to go. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit in here to emphasize that kind of little wrist area. I'm going to reintroduce those kind of flicks for the fur, kind of exaggerate them a little bit, and it just, yeah, kind of make them look nice and fluffy and full. I'm hoping you can see this okay on camera. They are very dark markers. It's probably a little bit darker than I would normally have gone, but I don't know, we're going with it. So again, we're going to concentrate on his leg here. It's going to be a little bit darker kind of where it joins his body and around the base of it, and it's going to be kind of lightest up on what would be, I guess it's his knee. Is it a knee in a bear? It would be a knee in a human, but that's where it's going to be the lightest, where that light is really going to catch is at the kind of top of his leg here. And again, just really working over those seams, if you like, the parts where the two colors join, because the lightest and the darkest are quite different. So we want to kind of make sure we blend that out and make it look cohesive. Okay, and I'm just going to go back again. I'm just going to emphasize those shadows there. Just add a little bit more depth. Okay, let's do his other arm over here. And again, starting with my darkest marker, I'm going to add a little bit of a wrist there for him. Looks like he's got a bit of a joint on his arm. Emphasizing these fingers. They don't really have fingers. What are they? Paws. He's got fingers. So, there we go. And let's go over with our mid-tone. Again, I'm just kind of pulling that darker marker out. And the great thing about markers is you don't have to be super neat and careful with your blending. You can kind of go in a little bit heavier handed, and it doesn't really matter because it will all blend out in the end, especially like if you really take some time to work over your blend lines, you can really get it look super seamless. I don't spend ages on it, but if you want to, you can really blend out those lines and really make it look like it's just that you can't see the transition between the colors. And that's the great thing about alcohol markers. And the more kind of moisture you have on the page, the more marker you have on the page, the easier it is to blend between the colors. So getting the page nice and wet really works. And that's why it's really important to have a very smooth cardstock when you're using alcohol markers, because it responds well to the alcohol kind of almost sits on the surface a little bit and blends with the other colors without having to work too hard. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? So yeah, the alcohol marker kind of blends together by the colors kind of blend together on the surface of the paper. So that's why you want a nice smooth paper. I have no idea if what I said made any sense whatsoever. But anyway, I'm just going to fill that in dark there, and then we just got this other leg to do. So let's do that. I'm going to go up around here. Now, I need to think about what I'm going to do with his leg here, because normally I would colour yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to colour the kind of paw pads darker and the foot lighter. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but that's what we're going to do. So he's kind of a reddish bear. I don't know, what colour are bears? What kind of bear would be a reddish brown colour? I don't know, I just felt like going with a reddish brown. I just thought it looked kind of cute. Okay, so we've got the kind of face and other parts of him left. So this is where I'm going to bring in those other two markers, the YR9 and the Y145. And this is going to be for his face. So make sure I've got the right ends. So it's the same kind of colour family, but lighter colours. So I wanted his face to be lighter than the rest of him. And just starting again, just by going right around the outside of this line, and then I'll pull that colour out a bit, add a little bit under his eyes. Not too much, we don't want him to look like he's had too many late nights. A little bit under his nose here. And around either side of his mouth. And then we can pull in the lighter marker and blend it out and see how it looks. And if we need to, we can add more shadow. But like I say, always better to go a little bit lighter handed with the shadows and add more in if you need it, rather than going too heavy to begin with, because it's really hard to remove. I mean, you can, if you use a blender pen, you can remove some color from the page, but it never looks like completely gone. It's always there a little bit. I'm going to add just a little bit on top of his nose here, and kind of make it look a little bit dimensional. And again, it's all quite a big area of colour because it's quite a large image. You do have the option actually of printing these out smaller, like an A5 size. I decided to print it out A4 so that it was kind of easier to see on camera. But you do have the option of making it smaller if you want. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to do his belly. So again, I'm going to go all the way around the outside. Like I say, nothing fancy or clever here. It's all very simple colouring. We're going to go underneath that mug because that kind of be casting a bit of a shadow on his belly. And we're going to colour all of this bit in the darker marker, because it's kind of shadowed behind the mug and the contents of the mug. Oh, let's do his little belly button. We'll do that slightly darker as well. Do bears have belly buttons? I guess they do. I don't know. I've never been that close to a bear that I overlook, to be honest. Pretty scary creatures from what I gather. I have seen them in a zoo, obviously. Did I see? Oh, I did see one in the wild, actually. I was in Canada and I saw one kind of walking along the side of the road. there were people getting out of their cars, and I just kind of thought that that was a little bit crazy. So I just stayed in the car and enjoyed the view from the car window, and it wandered off into the forest. So yeah. Okay, let's just add a little bit more of that in there, and then I'm just going to go back and so that lighter marker's kind of bleached the darker marker out a bit, and you can leave it like that because it looks fine, but I'm just going to add it back in. This kind of gives it a bit more of a cartoonish look, I guess, emphasizing those highlights and dark areas, shadow. Okay, his feet next, so let's have a look. Let's just add, yeah, I'm going to do I want to do it? Ooh. I'm trying to think whether I should, yeah, maybe I'll do the paws and the pads of the paw in the lighter color actually, and his feet darker. Okay. He's a super fun image. He's so cute. Okay, let's do the other side exactly the same. I think this one's going to be pretty quick to color because it is just one kind of really large image, and then some little accessories, but nothing major. Okay, and then I'll color in his paws with those darker markers that I had out earlier. So starting with the YR95 to add my deepest shadow. Kind of in between his little toes, we might just add a little bit of shadow around the pads of the paws as well. Just a touch. And bring in our mid-tone. Kind of work that up a little bit. And then our lightest. Okay. That doesn't look too bad. Let's do his other paw. There's a lot of brown in this today. A lot of the same colors. But that's okay. He is such a cute bear. Okay, mid-tone. And then while I've got these markers out, I'll do his nose as well because I feel like his nose needs to be darker. And then let's add in the lightest. And I love these images for alcohol markers. I think they just really lend themselves to alcohol markers because the liner is quite thick. So alcohol markers work a treat with it. Let's do his nose. So I'm just going to add the shadow kind of to the bottom of his nose there and emphasize those little points, and then we can bring in the lighter marker. And we need to do his eyebrows as well, which we'll do in the darker marker too. I'll just add a little line of darker marker at the bottom. Like I say, this is super easy, quick, fun coloring. Okay, so that's pretty much our bear done. Let's add, I'm just going to add the very darkest marker to the inside of his coffee cup there to make it look like he's drinking coffee. Then I'm going to do the mug in a shade of red. So I have, what have I got? R8, R6 and R160 for my red combination. So again, kind of starting with my darkest marker, and we'll add some shadow right around the edges of the mug. We'll do the inside bit there. That would be in a little bit of shadow, and we'll just bring this up a little bit like that. And around the bottom there. Again to the handle. And go in with the R6. And the R6 can look a bit pinky, but it does look red once you kind of blend it out with the other colors. So I'm just kind of pulling that marker out a little bit further, and then we'll end with the R160, which is our lightest marker. Again, working over those blend lines and pulling the color out. It's a nice kind of rich red color, this one. I like it. Kind of almost like a cherry red. Okay, we'll pop that off to the side. Let's do his little spoon. I'm going to do that in silvery grey markers. So I've got CG204 and CG2. And we'll start with the darker one. There's not much to colour here. It's pretty small area, so we don't need to do too much on this one. Blend that out a little bit. Okay, well that's left is the honey pot and the inside of his ears. So, didn't really think about the inside of his ears, did I? What colour could I do those? I think I'll do them, let's see. I don't want to go too light because I think it will look a bit strange. I've just got a 120 here, add a little bit of pink. And let's add a little bit of pink to his kind of cheeks as well. Make him look rosy. Again, this kind of adds a little bit of a cartoony element to it, so if you don't want to add it, you don't have to. It just adds a little bit of character to him. So next up, the honey. So for the honey, I have YR2, Y2, YR34 and Y3. So my darkest marker is the YR2. So let's start with that. Now, I don't know, yeah, I think I'm going to do the honey pot in the same colours as the honey. Is that a good thing to do? I don't know. Oh, wrong end. Don't know. Do I do it a different colour? I could do it a greenish colour or something, couldn't I? Let's do that bit in the honey colour. Sorry, there's lots of pulling on and taking off of marker lids, so I hope that's not annoying you too much. Okay, my bee needs to be, I might do it just slightly light. It's very, very small area for the bee. So I'll just add a little touch of yellow in there. Might as well just do that all one colour. I'm going to bring out that darker grey marker that we used there and do my bee stripes in that colour. And what should we do? Kind of feel like the honey pot needs to be the same colour as the honey. So yeah, let's do that. Let's use the same colours. I was thinking of doing it a different colour, but I think I will just do it in the honey colours, and then maybe do the label in the red, the same as the mug, just to bring that red up a little bit. Okay, that's my darkest. The YR34 is the next darkest marker, so that's kind of like my mid-tone, if you like. And then the Y2. And actually, I'm not using that Y3 at all. I don't think I need it. 3 markers is enough. It all looks a bit samey, but I think it's okay. And we'll add in the red for the label. So I got the R8, the R6, 160. Okay, so I haven't done the bees' wings. Let's do those. Let's do them in a pale blue. I've got B030 here, which is frost blue. I'll just add a bit of that. I'm going to add a bit of shine to those as well. Okay, so that's pretty much all the colouring done. We just need to add a little bit of Jelly Roll pen. So I'm going to use, what am I going to use? This one, I think. The Jelly Roll, White Sakura Jelly Roll in size 10. And we'll add some to his ears. Always just like adding this in, just adds a little bit of interest to the finished page. I never know quite where to put them. I kind of just add it in a little bit randomly, willy-nilly, hoping for the best. I'm going to add a couple of little dots here to his cheeks, just for something extra. Add some to his hand here, and down his arm. Dots and dashes, whatever kind of takes your fancy. You don't have to make it perfect. It just, like I say, just adds a little bit of something to it. A little bit around the rim of the cup here, and on the handle. Then we'll do a little bit down the side. Around his belly. Around this bit. Kind of anywhere where you think it might be catching the light. You don't have to add this step in. It's just, as I say, something a little bit extra. And it kind of makes the image pop a little bit and gives it that kind of proper cartoon vibe. Okay, I really want to make this honey look a bit shiny. I feel like it's looking a little bit too samey. Maybe I should have gone with a different colour for the honey pot. Maybe that's something you can think about. But anyway, it's done now, so we're living with it. Where else do I need any? I think that's probably just about it, really. You could, of course, oh, I've smudged it. You could, of course, add some sort of ground if you wanted. I'm not going to bother. This page, as I say, all about keeping things quick and easy and simple. So let's just add, what will we do? Do we add, I might just add a little bit of silver sparkle pop pen, which I know will change the colour, but to my little bee's wings to make them a little bit sparkly. Just for something a little bit different. And then I'm going to take a black Sakura Jelly Roll glaze pen and kind of emphasize his eyes a little bit. It's only a tiny area, but I just want to add that in. I'm trying not to smudge what I've already smudged there. And there we have it. I think that's job done. Very quick and easy page today, but I hope you enjoyed it. So that is First Coffee by R.J.Hampson in his gorgeous book, Awake. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again for the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye.